Hello, everybody. My name's Brennan,
My name's Gabe.
And you got Parker?
and this is Shadow Valley. So, on this episode, we are going to talk about the skinwalkers.
Oh, these skinwalkers.
Again.
And I know a lot of people are kind of standoffish about skinwalkers and kind of a lot of the significance behind the name. I know in a lot of Native American culture, like talking about the skinwalker or mentioning it is like a big no-no.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how to get around that. And so if that's something that really bothers you and you really don't want to get involved in, like that gives you some really bad vibes, I would
Turn the volume down.
Yeah, I'd just recommend maybe skipping this or skipping to later in the episode.
So yeah, you guys probably won't hear me the rest of the episode because I'm just gonna walk out.
Because you're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's too
No,
eerie.
I'm not down. I'm not down. No, I'm just playing. But
I live in West Valley, so I'm not scared to say it at all. The skinwalker would get shot if it came into my neighborhood. Not gonna lie. I can't go out at night.
Everything's got crack. Get him.
oh shit. We're
That's
glad
an
to have
animal
Parker
skin?
back.
Yes.
By the way, how did the move go?
It was actually pretty solid. We moved like our whole house. We moved out everything in probably an hour and a half.
That's
wow,
pretty
that was
good.
actually pretty quick. Did
Yeah.
you guys have quite a bit packed already?
Yeah, we had everything in boxes besides furniture. So we just had to pack boxes, and then the furniture my brother-in-law helped me pick up. It was me, my wife, my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, and we were done in like an hour and a half.
That's
unloading.
crazy.
We had unloaded everything into my new house and driven because it's 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we were eating lunch and like by 3 p.m. and we were done with everything.
Wow, that's awesome.
And we started
Good
like
move.
8. So yeah,
Wow.
it was a good move.
Dang.
It went well, and we're happy to be in our new house, and now we just hope we can afford it. But it's not, it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter that much.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
Also, just to mention again, I messed up my weeks because I'm a fool. But we have 2 more episodes after this. This was kind of an on-spot, or what's the word? Like, I guess it's on the spot episode for us because we realized that we needed to have one more episode. So Brennan actually decided that we should probably rerun Skinwalker again because we did hit on it.
Yeah.
One of our second episode, right?
We just kind of like briefly talked about it because you guys, you and Kale, at least Parker, had some stories about it just kind of being in vernal in kind of skinwalker territory to where you guys had a little bit more experience versus actually going into a little bit more of the lore and a little bit of kind of what a skinwalker is.
Yeah.
And so just kind of diving into that and giving a little bit more like background from what I found. So skinwalkers are from Native American culture. And it kind of is like a witch. It's
Right.
kind of like a Native American witch to where somebody has kind of gained the power to change into an animal. And it's usually through like, it's through kind of black magic type of things. Like to become a skinwalker, you have to commit a huge atrocity.
It's
So-
usually like rape your sister and then murder her or something like that.
You definitely have to like kill like
Kill
a close
something for
family
sure.
member or kill
I thought it
somebody
had something to
significant.
do with like necrophilia, right?
It
So
might be
you
kill,
murder
then
somebody,
rape.
and then when I briefly did research on this subject,
Yeah.
but when I was reading, some people said that the way that you change or you get the power to be a skinwalker is you murder,
Yeah.
then you like have sex with the corpse, and then you use the body, all of its remains, in whatever way you can, and that eventually gives you the power to do skinwalker, essentially turn into what you want.
Yeah. It's really interesting how it all works out, like with the skinwalker, because it's not like a werewolf, like because we talked about werewolves like 2 times ago, to where a lot of it was kind of like out of your control. You weren't necessarily choosing to become a werewolf. You just kind of happened, especially during like the big werewolf scare. People were accused of being a werewolf, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know."
Yeah.
But it's the opposite for like a skinwalker. Like they're able to understand like that they're turning into these things. There's a lot of intent behind it.
Right.
And that's part of it too. That's a big piece of like skinwalkers is there's an intent behind it. Like everything you do, you have to do with this idea. Like you have to set a goal beforehand and you have to try and like reach that goal. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to do this and then randomly like fuck around. It's like, no, I'm going to do this. This is my objective and this is how it's going to do it. And typically, like, again, skinwalkers aren't the bestest of people. Like they're not supposed to be good. There's a reason why there's such a reverence or fear surrounding like their name, especially because just like talking about them has been known to kind of draw them in. It's kind of like that idea of the more you talk about something, the more power you give it, and the more like you can bring it to yourself. But again,
Can't wait to sleep by myself tonight in the house that's empty after talking about skinwalkers.
Well, shit, dude, I'm doing the same thing tonight too.
I just live in West Valley. I'm not afraid of the gangs, bro. I'm more scared of the gangs actually than I am of the skinwalkers. Because again, like I know if they're walking through the neighborhood, they're gonna be like, "Yo, what's your colors?" And they're gonna always have the wrong colors, and they're gonna get shot the fuck up.
So, am I wrong? Is it usually like a wolf that they turn into? Is that very common, or is
A
it
coyote as well?
Oh, a coyote.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can turn into almost anything.
But the thing is, like, they have to have the skin of that thing, so that's why it's called a skin walker,
Right?
is because they actually like have to have like that pelt to turn into. And also like people will say like, hey, this pelt I found was from a skinwalker, and the reason that they believe that it's from a skinwalker versus just some pelt that's like from a dead animal is because there's a distinct smell, like a chemical type smell a lot of times.
Yeah,
Interesting.
kind of like a sulfur.
Yeah. And it's like, and you know, a lot of times they'll have a hide that animals will, you know, like eat, pick clean, like, you know, birds and stuff will get it or whatever. And like these skinwalker skins, like no animals will touch them. They want nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
It's really interesting. Yeah.
Well, animals definitely have that. They have that extra sense, I guess we can say, where
You know
they
what's
can
funny is
recognize-
actually we hit on that in that episode as well.
yeah,
Yeah, because I remember talking about what freaks me out is a lot when I'm like in my living room and then my dog gets up and just starts staring at something.
we also talked about that with the Becks too.
Oh, we did?
Yeah,
That
with
freaks
the
me
guy
out,
in
dude. They
the
just
room.
know more than us, you know?
Yeah.
It's just freaky.
That's why I don't have pets. You get a parrot and they're like, there's a guy over there. There's a guy over there. And you're like, what does he know?
Oh my gosh!
What are you not telling me?
Look on the ceiling. Look on the ceiling.
Oh my gosh!
Crawling on the ceiling. Crawling on the ceiling.
Oh my gosh, that
Red
reminds me. Crawling on the ceiling like I talked about last time when I was at Lagoon,
Oh,
and that
yeah.
bitch was on the ceiling.
Dude, that was so. I listened to that episode on the way down here, and that was impressive. I was like, I kind of want to go to Lagoon just
know.
for that.
You have to go and
Yeah.
see that. Like that woman was on the ceiling.
Also, you guys made me want to watch like scary movies really bad. I was like, I'm a pansy. I can't do that when I'm like in my house by myself.
Oh,
But I was watching the second It, and I'm just like, it's pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not the sorry. I guess it's super off topic.
No,
but,
you're good.
yeah.
That's what this
like
okay.
episode's for.
the scariness to me is not like if you can see the monster, it's like instantly not scary to me after that.
Right.
Like how the fact like if it showed the clown and then all of a sudden it cut to black and you heard screaming, that'd be slightly scarier to me than all the clown like growing these teeth and ripping a guy's heart out. I'm like,
Right.
okay, that was a little much. Like
Yeah,
how
yeah.
you're saying, like when the gore is overdone,
Mhm.
it's just kind of like it's not as unsettling to just
Right.
see it all in front of you.
Yeah, you want something a little more like ambiguous, if you
Yeah,
will.
like
I'm telling you, you will get into like the gore part, and you'll get kind of like Evil Dead Rise, bro. Evil Dead Rise.
I'm not saying I don't like I'm here for it. It just
Yeah.
makes it less scary to me because it's just so in your face. Like
Yeah.
I think what really terrifies me is what I can't see.
You just
Yeah.
got to see something fucked up. Like when you see how fucked up like all this gore is in the shit, like it'll change. You'll be like it because you almost like reflect on it. You're like, oh my god, like you cringe internally because like what if that happened to me?
Yeah.
Like because I was talking about in last episode.
That like cheese grater.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
cheese
I heard
grater on
that,
the
and
like
that made me cringe just hearing that. Yeah.
right. And so it's like when it gets to that point to where you can see it, it's like, oh my gosh. Or oh my you have to watch the fucking movie. Like if you didn't have to leave tonight, like I would say we're watching the goddamn movie tonight right after we're done with this.
We would be done about 1 a.m.
Because like it's that fucking good, bro.
Yeah.
Like oh
Well,
I'm watching it on my way home. I've decided. Like I'm turning it on
Don't
as I'm
probably
watching
do
it
it.
on my way home.
It's
probably
gonna be
shouldn't.
like midnight and
yeah.
yeah. And yeah, I wouldn't do that.
It's perfect.
It's
Well, back to Skinwalkers.
sorry.
We'll
all
put
right.
my passion of like that movie behind me.
No, it's okay. I think it's good for tangents.
Yeah.
Let's keep running it.
But I guess back to skinwalkers, and animals just having that like extra sense, like they do know a lot about things. And so it's really important. You know, I would recommend everybody just have like a pet just
Yeah.
because since they could recognize these things that not everybody can recognize, it's almost like a safety thing.
Right.
And there's actually a lot of cultures that used to keep animals, and watch them to know like when natural disasters were going to happen and
Right.
kind of keep that. Which I think is actually interesting that even back then in the primitive times, they're able to recognize how like animals had that extra sense.
Mhm.
And so it's the same, like, I guess with the paranormal. And so with skinwalkers, like if you ever go camping, I think it'd be like smart to bring your dog.
Yeah.
If you have a dog. I don't necessarily think it'd be smart to bring your cat. Like, I don't feel like your cat's going to really warn you, but
What-
Like your cat would just dip out.
probably.
Oh, there's a skinwalker. I'm leaving.
Yeah, seriously.
What's
your dog would
funny?
be like,
What's funny is like I've camped a lot like in the area where it's like because I'm from the area, you know.
Yeah.
And I've camped a lot, like hunted a lot in the area, and like I've had weird experiences like the ones I talked about like on that episode.
Yeah.
But I've never once like been worried about a skinwalker or something like that like while we were like it's just it's interesting how like Fort Duchesne is like the actual like where most of the
well, that's the
people
ranch,
live
right?
on the res,
Oh,
and
no,
then also
sorry.
the ranch is like there as well. Like,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
there's Fort Duchesne, then there's like Bottle Hollow, which there's so many crazy things in the area though.
The
like,
bottle hollow monster.
Yeah.
The serpent.
yeah. So,
Interesting.
like-
I've not heard of that actually.
Really?
Yeah, I've not heard of that.
yeah,
Oh.
it's pretty common in the air. Like, even my dad, I think, told me because he grew up in Roosevelt, which is
Yeah.
just like 15 miles probably to the west of Fort Duchesne. And like he would fish in Bottle Hollow like every day in the summer, pretty much.
Yeah.
But they were reluctant to swim in it. I've swam in it before, but
Would you pee in it?
I'm sure I did. Actually, I think I specifically remember peeing in it. Yeah.
I can't remember if it was the guy or girl in that story that got killed by the serpent.
I think the guy was trying to save the girl, and then he ended up getting taken or something like that. But I mean, like there's stories of the highway patrolman. You know, he's driving his car by Bottle Hollow,
Yeah.
and there's a wolf running right next to him, going like 60 miles an hour,
wait.
just like
I-
acting like it's not even trying to
Yeah.
run. And
Oh, I
it's like-
think didn't we talk about the story in the first episode?
we might have. I don't remember
Okay,
exactly.
I
what we
think I
talked
do
about.
remember that because I do recognize that story. And it was like
Let's
a giant
just like
wolf, wasn't
rehash
Yeah,
it anyway.
it? Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's just nuts. Like, there's so many weird legends about the basin in general. And, like, I
Yeah.
know that's not necessarily what we're trying to talk about in this episode. We're more focused on Skinwalker. But my point is, apparently the Navajo, like, cursed the Utes when they were having a feud over the land. Like, before it was a reservation, just like when the Native Americans were just on their own out here before any white people came.
Right.
But they had been having like a feud over the land, and so the Navajo actually supposedly cursed the Ute area over there, And in my personal opinion, is that's why there's so many weird things in that area. And then also, I kind of think it's like an intersection.
I've heard that. Like it's like
It's like a portal intersection.
yeah, essentially
Traveled
like,
between dimensions and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, and like I especially where there's so much UFO or
Yeah, it's
whatever
just a
you want
bunch
to
of
call them,
weird stuff
activity.
going on.
My dad to this day will say that he legitimately saw a UFO. Like they were just driving in the middle of the road or driving in the middle of the day, and they're just driving down the road, and like a UFO like just was like hovered right in front of them in their car.
Dang.
And just like hovered right there. And he's like, I know we did, because he like slammed on the brakes because he's like felt like he's gonna hit it. And I don't know how big he said. Like I've never asked him how big he thought it was, but I've always imagined it as like not incredibly big, probably not much bigger than like a car. But
I was thinking like an inch.
like tiny.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about aliens.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something else.
Oh my gosh.
I don't imagine the size of my dad's.
Oh
ding
no, I
dong.
wasn't thinking.
Oh
Nope. Never mind.
Anyways,
Continue on. Sorry.
But anyways, and then it just like flew away, and like that was that. But he's like, anyways, I mean, that was a long time ago. It was only, but it's interesting how they say it's cursed by the Navajo, and then like this area just has all this random activity. I mean, have you heard of the water babies as well? Have you heard about that?
No.
It's like
The water babies?
yeah, so it's also a witch doctor thing in Native American like lore.
Yeah.
And it's like there's an actual legend that it comes from, and I've read it before, but I can't remember the specifics. But anyways, it's like you'll hear these babies crying at night, and it sounds like they're drowning in the water.
Yeah.
Oh,
you'll
that is
go to
horrible.
so you'll go to save them, and you're like looking for the baby, and then like whatever that thing actually is will like grab you and drown you instead.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then like
That
there's
sounds like the wig.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Skinwalkers and the wig, because they both like originate from Native American culture, like they're very similar. The only difference is like one of them, well, actually, they both have kind of things of cannibalism in there as well. And so, like, it's interesting because it's almost, they're both seen as a thing of greed. Like, that's where it came from. And that's where a lot of these stories come from, is that, like, you know, greed can really corrupt somebody. Like, when you're starving and then you eat your friend and you turn into a Wendigo, which is an evil demonic spirit.
Right.
It spawns from like that greed. And then becoming a skinwalker also is greedy because, you know, you had to kill somebody to gain this magical power that you wanted to get. And so it's interesting. I think it's interesting that both of these things, and that's why they're so similar, is because they are meant to be tales to project that kind of idea. They're like learning things. Like, you know, when you're younger, your parents try and scare you with like the boogeyman. So you like behave. And so it's kind of like that, except for
this is real.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I don't know.
Well, like, I want to believe it's real. That's what I was going to follow up with. Like, except for this might be something real.
Right.
But that's kind of like how it's seen. Like, if you talk to a lot of skeptics and a lot of people who've done like research on it in this way, they'll talk to you a lot about it like that, to where, you know, it's just like a story. It's just a story that used to be told by the people to try and prevent like being greedy and to really show like consequences from that.
Yeah, kind of something that is used to give humanity a reason to try and be good people a little bit. As using fear to try and push your morals on other people.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. There's different ways we do that nowadays, and it's interesting. But a lot of that definitely has a portion at least in there. I don't know personally how real it is. Like I said, I've gone skinwalker like calling out in the freaking.
You're insane.
Come and get me.
No, like I'll go.
See
papi, see papi, see papi.
I was in just Spanish Fork Canyon, and I was like, "Go skinwalkers!" Like, where are you? And I went looking in Schofield for him, and I just couldn't find
I
him.
don't think they give an F about stuff that's that far from the res, though.
You think it has to be that like close to the reservation?
I do, because I don't personally feel eerie like
Like right now, you wouldn't think anything of it.
no, like when I go home tonight, I'll be fine, really, because I'm like I just feel like I'm far enough away. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't do this podcast on the res and then go home and stay at my house on the res.
Yeah, because you're almost like calling for it to just come get you.
Yeah, and like I just personally think that like they got better things to do than worry about, even if they know I'm talking about them.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm jinxing myself, so you know, if I die, it is what it is, and you know why. And skinwalkers are real for sure. So
Skinwalkers got you.
nice.
FBI
dude, that would
got
be crazy,
me.
wouldn't it?
That would be well. Don't bring it into
Brennan,
fruition, bro.
Brennan,
We
pay
don't
your
need
taxes.
that juju.
Pay my taxes. I pay my tax.
F
No,
you,
I
Dick
said
Cheney. Let's just get that out of the way.
thanks for doing it for me, bro.
Yeah.
But no, the FBI would come after me, not the IRS. I pay my taxes just to pay that. Make that clear. The IRS, we're good. Me and the IRS are good. The
Yeah,
FBI, they
also
just didn't
good.
like me calling them out on their shit about killing somebody
Yeah,
Which time?
allegedly.
alleged killing, as always alleged.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, which is not fact, they
Just
drove
like your
a man to
speeding
kill
ticket?
himself.
Uh,
I believe I was going the speed limit.
I know you believe you were. I don't believe you were.
That is for the justice system
Yeah.
to prove.
Yeah, well,
I believe I was going to the speed limit. I am innocent till proven guilty.
I know you are, but what am I?
Oh my gosh.
I'm rubber, you're glue. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
so, question:
Yeah.
Are there any like ties to Bigfoot? I'm
Uh,
more just curious because there's a lot of talk about, and we talked about it in our Bigfoot series, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of talk about how Bigfoot is also like kind of walking that line of like I guess if you want to call it like a spiritual or spirits versus like the real world.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was curious to see, are there any sort of like ties to Bigfoot within that area, or is it kind of totally different?
Bigfoot's usually like in Utah, Bigfoot's usually known to be in like the Uintas. So kind of
Right.
like in a different area. But
Well, that is the Uintas, though.
really? Like the Uinta,
Uinta
Aren't they-
National Forest is like
is it right near s-
starts about from Camas, and then it goes further east, like almost clear to the border. It may be to the Colorado-Utah border. So it's like
Interesting.
those mountains right above Fort Duchesne are the Uinta. It's the Uinta National Forest. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I always imagined it like starting from kind of like in Provo going up, you know what I mean? Through Heber and kind of being like the really dense forest, like going up to Mirror Lake.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
really?
not so. Mirror Lake is, and I wouldn't have known this except for that was my hunting unit last year.
Oh,
But Mirror Lake is the Wasatch
That's right. Yeah.
really?
forest or whatever. But yeah, so you get to further east, and there is like, that's actually where we did that scout camp one year, where we did the zip line and all that.
Oh, I remember that was like one of the best scout
That
camps,
was.
actually.
I wasn't there for that
You
one.
weren't
That was a year before I could.
really.
Yeah.
I didn't know you that. I didn't know you were younger than us.
I'm the youngest one here.
Well,
Dude,
yeah,
you
but
remember
I
you
didn't
guys
know you.
burned my tent?
I don't remember that.
It was because like
It was
scout camp
sick.
happened before like I turned old enough to go. Because you guys went in like early July and my birthday's late July.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was that was probably the funnest camp I'd ever been on. I'm sorry you missed it, dude. Gabe initiated Zeke.
Oh, really?
I don't even remember what you're
Dude,
talking
so
about.
you were running. You're this.
Oh, when I freaking mooned him.
Yeah,
Oh,
you just like
I do
run through
remember
the
that
field
now.
in broad daylight. And you'd be like initiation, then drop your pants. And then you'd be like, all right,
Dude,
you're
those
one
were
of
the
us.
good
now."
old days.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I
Wow.
remember my initiation too, bro.
think I
Did you
just-
ever initiate Curtis Burgess?
I doubt
Probably
it.
not. No,
He,
I just did
he
it with the
came
homies.
initiated because he
Yeah.
didn't want to deal with the backlash of that.
Oh my gosh.
The bishop's son.
Yeah, I think with you, Brennan, man, this is so weird. Mind you guys, this is when we were like 12, so we were just dummies. But
We either never mind. I won't say that.
yeah, I don't know. Let's move on.
Real quick. One last thing, because this popped in my head. My mom laughs about this to this day. But do you guys remember when like we were in junior high and I was like obsessed with the word like guava?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I like said it, ran home, locked myself in my house, locked myself in my room, and then like hid under my bed. And then you guys dragged me out because my mom helped break me in. And then you pulled me out onto my front lawn, freaking pulled my pants down, and then slapped my ass.
Bear? Was it Bear?
Yes, it was Bear.
No way. It wasn't
Yes,
Bear.
dude, it was you too.
Oh man.
Who pulled
I
down
feel
your
like
pants?
such
Did
an
I?
ass.
Yeah, it was you, Parker. My mom laughs about it to this day. She was the one who betrayed me too. She was the one who opened the door.
Dang.
Well, I'm sorry. I slapped your parents.
You don't have to apologize. She laughs about it. It's funny, but
Well,
like,
I'm glad she remembers me for something. Do you remember when you jumped on Braxton and you're like, for District Gabe? Wait, no, I jumped on Braxton and he was like, District 9, because it's like when Hunger Games is a big deal.
Uh-huh.
And then you're like, District Gabe, and you just
Oh my
you
God.
took
I
off your
remember
hoodie
that.
and it's like waving it around.
Oh man.
But,
Yeah, I was a menace as a child. We were talking about this
All of
before
us.
the episode. I regret so much that I did. I was such a fool. Anyway,
District
let's get
That's
back.
okay.
Let's get back on track.
Okay.
Here we go.
So my personal opinion with Bigfoot though is
he's a pedophile.
I bet he is.
Mhm.
Anyone with feet that big, man.
Oh my gosh.
No, I think I don't know what he is, good or bad. Terrifies the crap out of me to like if you were to actually run into Bigfoot.
Yeah.
But I personally think that he's traveling between dimensions, and I think that like the Navajos say that the area is cursed. I don't think that it's actually cursed. I think it just sits on kind of like ley lines, like what we talked about with the Nephilim thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of, yeah, just like an intersection, like we said earlier, where somehow you can travel between dimensions or time or something like that. And I
Right.
think it's just like there might be things from like other planets, like
Coming through there.
coming through that portal. Like maybe it's like some wormhole, whatever entrance. And actually, like, I mean, there's definitely UFO activity there. Like it's very apparent, but like between like try and use your compass around Skinwalker Ranch and it's weird,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff like that. Like, and
It just like messes with the polarity.
yeah, there's a
Interesting.
whole bunch of weird. Actually, on the coolest thing I've ever seen on that Skinwalker Ranch TV show, and like if you can find it, I recommend anyone listening watch it because it's insane. They were like shooting these firework. I can't remember what it was, but they're shooting these things in the sky and they're like
Yeah.
exploding.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they shoot them in the sky and it wasn't supposed to explode. And it explodes, and they're like, "Oh man, like must have been a problem." And then they play it back in super slow motion, and they realize everything was going fine, and it looks like it just hit something that's completely invisible,
Oh my
and then
gosh.
that's why it's exploded. And it's probably like 15, 20 feet off the
Yeah.
ground, and it's like 100% like it goes off the ground, everything's fine, and you can see it just stop midair and explode. And then
What the
after,
heck?
and so they're watching it on the slow mo, and it's
Yeah.
like crazy. And then after that, it was nighttime, and a helicopter came and flew over them after they hit that invisible thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is the helicopter was super low, and it didn't even have lights. It was an unmarked helicopter, like it was a government helicopter or something like that, because
Dang.
it didn't have any lights on it.
What
Which are
the
like,
heck?
if you have a helicopter, you have to have those lights on it, and
Yeah.
you have to have them turned on.
Right.
If you're flying, like it's air traffic control, like you know. And so they hit this invisible object, and you can totally see it, and you can see like the smoke like curl around the object, and like
What?
it almost like you can like see kind of the shape of it.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And it's hovering above them like 20 feet in the air, and like they can't see it. But it's nuts. Probably like it's probably, you know, they have a whole bunch of things that happen on that show, and
Right.
you're like, they could be faking it. Like this guy's like, "Oh, I'm getting a headache," and you're like, "Well, you got a big head," you know.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
stuff like that, you know. And but like that was, you're like, I mean, could they have faked it? Yeah, they could have, but
Yeah.
it was impressive regardless. You
Yeah.
know?
Just like the Lagoon show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Phew. Jeez. I still am like a huge fan of that. Like, go freaking see it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, that's insane. A lot of that stuff is like, I don't know. It's interesting. Skinwalker Ranch is definitely like an interesting place. I wish I was able to see more of it when I went there, just on like a little road trip.
Yeah.
Just drove up to the gate, saw the gate, took some pictures. Yeah, that's so cool.
You
And then
probably
turned
saw-
around and drove away.
You probably saw more of it than like anyone can now. I'm as far as I know,
Because it's pretty locked down now. Yeah.
yeah.
I
for
just saw
TV
the gate
show.
where it has all of the like signs that said no trespassing, has like
Yeah.
all the cameras.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's more or less now. I haven't been there since, but
I'll have to go see again.
yeah,
Take a road trip.
there's like a lot of UFO like hunter people, like not like people on TV, but just like people that just like have like old people that have nothing to do that just follow that stuff around. You know,
Yeah.
like a lot of them go to Vernal and go look at the dinosaur footprints and like the cave drawings and Skinwalker Ranch.
See,
There's, like-
that's what we did. Like when I went with Lucas on our trip from Wyoming and we came back down through Vernal, we stopped and we looked at like the petroglyphs and all of that kind of stuff,
that's
just
so
trying to make
sweet.
a trip out of it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. But I guess back to back more on top
Back
of
to
the
Skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers.
I have another question.
Yeah.
So I did read at one point. I wanted to ask you guys if this is legit or not, but it said that sometimes the people that like the witches that would turn into skinwalkers initially it was to like because you said they were cursed, but I also saw that in places they were to like try and help the
Protect.
tribe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think is like the truth? Because I feel like a curse would be a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's a curse, but also if people are using it to like protect the tribe or to help the tribe out in some way or whatever, which one holds more validity?
Personally, I don't think it's to help out the tribe because why would you be so scared of skinwalkers of a tribe like if it's your own thing?
Mm-hmm.
And then in addition to that, having to commit such a terrible atrocity to even become like a skinwalker, killing somebody you love and then doing all this necrophilia and
Right.
cannibalism, like how can somebody do that and then also be seen as like doing the greater good? You know what I mean? Because I feel like it all goes back to that crux of like greed and being very self-serving.
Right.
Well, so it's a Navajo legend, and I think it was actually like the Skinwalker probably would have been an actual Navajo tribe member
Right.
there to torment the Ute tribe. So that's how it would be both. It's depends on which side you're on,
Right.
but it's helpful for the Navajo people, but it's like harmful for the Ute people because it's them to like it's an antagonist spirit. It's like
Yeah.
the definition of it.
But they still have to hurt somebody in their own tribe like to get there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of goodness associated. Like even if like the Navajo people themselves are wary of skinwalkers, you
Right.
know. So I mean, I think that they serve their own for sure. Like they're, I mean, they're witch doctors, which is
Yeah.
ultimately also supposed to be helpful for the tribe. But I think you're right. Where it's like if you're doing these awful things and you're capable of that, and you think it's worth getting where you want to be to do those awful things, like I'd be kind of wary of like hanging out with someone who's like,
Right.
yeah, I
Right.
just raped my dead sister, which I killed or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but that is an interesting point to bring up because I don't know, just to imagine someone that could even do that,
Yeah.
and then also it like to be a helpful thing. Like, what's
Mhm.
interesting? So it's funny. I actually was just reading in the Bible this morning, and Jesus literally says like, "You don't need to sacrifice for me. Just come to me," or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, and like going on this, it's a tangent, but I won't get into it. But going on this like whole religious journey at the moment,
Mhm.
and trying to figure out what I believe. But it's interesting how much religion always asks you to sacrifice
Yeah.
when
Right.
like that seems to be like of the devil. And Jesus literally says in the Bible, like, you don't have to sacrifice to me. Like you're for me, like you're enough as you.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
I've made up the difference. So it's kind of interesting to bring up for skinwalkers. Like they have to do like some sort of a sacrifice thing. Like that definitely shows it's some sort of like a more demonic entity. You
Yeah.
know, I wouldn't say it's a good natured thing.
No, definitely not. I mean, just to like, I don't know, because it does stem from this greed. Like, you want something, like a part of you has to have that intention or that desire in order for it to even work to gain that power. Like, it's very self-serving. Like, there's not a way to really serve people, and I can't imagine anybody really doing that just to be like, hey guys, I'm really good actually. I
Right.
just killed my sister and had some necrophilia.
I did it for you.
But I did it for all of you
To
guys.
help the
Like,
tribe. It's for the greater good.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
'cause
no,
I
I
guess
just
at
can't
the end
see
of the
it.
day, it's just like, because it is just a bad omen, right?
Yeah,
And so, I don't know. I don't know why you'd want that anywhere near your tribe, I guess, you know? And
Yeah.
that's why, like you said, the Navajo people also don't want like anything to do with it. And I did find it actually very difficult to find any sort of like information just on skinwalkers.
yeah,
Like you Google skinwalkers and a Wikipedia page comes up, maybe like 3 paragraphs, and the rest of it's like about Skinwalker Ranch.
yeah.
You
Because
know?
it's so like hidden, and that's why, you know, like when I did my research, it was very cut and dry. Where it's like, yeah, skinwalkers, like witch doctors, they had to do terrible things to become that way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of evil intent behind them, this, that, and the other thing, and like it wasn't a lot to really go on. Most of the time, what you'll see is a lot of like stories. Like if you go on Reddit, you'll read some stories about him, and some of them are actually really interesting to read, and they're pretty spooky. I'm not going to share any just because I didn't ask any content creators like to use their story.
I have a hard time with reading stories on Reddit like that because I feel like a lot of it can be just like karma farming. If anybody uses
yeah.
Reddit,
Yeah.
they have like almost like a popularity type of
Currency.
Yeah, because you get karma for every like, blah blah blah. And so
So
I have a
even if
hard
something
time
can
like
be-
trusting anything.
It
on
can be just
Reddit.
straight for controversy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like they'll post something they don't even believe.
Yeah, because
Just-
people will go on there just to troll because they know they'll get a bunch of like comments on their post or likes and crap.
Yeah.
And so I just have a hard time with Reddit for that reason.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. They're just fun to read, in all honesty. But I was reading a lot of different things on Reddit, and I thought it was just interesting to see. And it's actually, this is where it kind of relates because I had an experience. I can't say whether it was Skinwalker or whatever, or if it was just nothing at all.
Yeah, maybe you're going crazy.
But I was in Diamond
Just
Fork
pushes
Canyon.
me to the side. Yeah, shut up, Gabe.
My time to shine. Be quiet, please.
Okay, sorry, boss.
So I was in Diamond Fork Canyon. I was with this girl, and we were gonna go hike to the Diamond Fork Hot Springs, and go skinny dipping,
Right.
because that's what we do. But so we were hiking up there, and as we were going up there, we maybe get like, because it's a 2.5 mile hike just to get up there. We maybe get like 1.5 miles up there.
Did you say the time? When was this?
Oh, this was in November.
Was it nighttime though?
Yeah, it was at night.
Oh shit, you were walking in November?
Yeah.
Was there
at
snow?
night. No, there wasn't. This was back in 2020, and so it was kind of like
Back
a
before
Oh,
winter was
November
a thing.
2020.
No, seriously though. I feel like
Last year it started again.
Yeah.
seriously though. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
But we were hiking up there, and we were gonna go to the hot springs, and then we started like hearing things up ahead. Like I can't tell you if it was like voices or if it was like animal noise, but as we were going up, like we heard these noises, and then we saw like these lights coming down. But it was so weird because, and I'll even preface this too, like both of our phone batteries were like fully charged when we
Right.
started the hike, and we weren't using them. But by the time we got up there and we heard these voices, we turned around and we started sprinting down, and we saw these lights like right behind us that started like following us and getting closer and closer and closer.
So they're
Yeah.
gaining on you.
Yeah, they were gaining on us, and we had no idea like what it was. It didn't sound like people. Like, I'm gonna level with you, like it didn't sound like a person. It was just these noises, and like I've embarrassed myself enough. last episode to try and like make noises again.
Oh shit, those
Or
are
two
money.
Did it
Dude.
sound for by chance like a chihuahua?
No, don't do that. No.
But no, it was yeah, it was just I'm not gonna try and make those noises just
Yeah.
because I don't want to make a fool of myself again.
Yeah,
But
you didn't make a fool. It was awesome. I loved it.
oh yeah, 10 out
When
of
I
10.
listened to the episode back, I was impressed
Oh my
because I was
gosh.
like, that was a dang good chihuahua.
Dude, seriously though, you really did sound like a chihuahua. It was insane.
I don't know. I've
Probably
been
the
around too many
best.
chihuahuas.
Rehearsed chihuahua, well, non-rehearsed chihuahua I've ever heard.
For real though, it was money.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. My werewolf and my witch noises weren't so
Need
money,
improvement, but that's okay.
But yeah.
So-
Anyway, we started sprinting down. These lights got going.
Right.
We ended up losing track of time.
Mhm.
Like we were there, and it felt like 1 second. We looked at the phone. It was like 12 o'clock, and then the next it was like 1:30. And what ended up happening too is my phone battery went from like 98%, close to being full, all the way down to 10%,
Oh really?
like completely drained. And her phone just completely died. And our phone, we didn't use our phones the entire time, like as we were up there. And so this, when I tell people this, they're like, this is completely like alien stuff. But like, we kept going down, running down the hill, and we were being chased by this thing, these lights, but also it was almost like an animal. And so we sprinted all the way back to my car. Once we got into my car, this is,
So wait, how
I was
far up
curious.
were you? Do you think?
we were like a mile and a half. We only had that last mile to go before
And you
we got
guys
to the hot spring.
sprinted all the way down to your car.
Yeah.
Holy smokes!
She was actually a cross country like runner, so it was fine for her. Me
Yeah.
and my fat ass was like,
Wait up, baby! I don't want to get eaten.
basically.
I don't want to get eaten.
And so we get back to my car, and I sit there, and I'm curious as all hell. Like, we get into my car, which is at the very base of the trail. You know where that parking lot is. And I flip it around. At this time, I still had my Volkswagen. I flip it around, and so my headlights are pointed into the tree line.
Your Volkswagen?
Yeah, I drove a Jetta for a while.
You did?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh.
I just remember your little blue like Corolla or whatever.
This wasn't
it was.
that long ago, though, right?
No, this was back in 2020.
Right.
Well, I
yeah,
guess
we talked
I'm
about
just
it.
because the blueberry or whatever was like in high school, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Blueberry was
yeah.
in
So
high
it
school.
wasn't that long ago. It was
Right.
Yeah.
Huh.
No, I remember that. I feel like I remember seeing on Snapchat. I remember like you had a Jetta or something.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
Dang, I
did
don't
take
remember that
pictures
at
of
all.
like speeding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
well,
remember you sent me a video and you were going like 120 down Provo Canyon because you're insane.
That's pretty cool.
Not cool. Not cool.
But
yeah, continue. Sorry.
so what I do is I flip around the car and I just sit there in the car. Like I don't speed off because now I'm curious. Like I'm terrified, but I'm like, I'm in my car. We're
Yeah, I would've
fine.
been out
Yeah.
there.
And so I like flip around, aim the headlights, and just stare at the trail. She's freaking out. She's like, why aren't you leaving? And I was like, hold on. I'm curious. I want to see what this is. I want to see
Right.
what's going on here. And, you know, this is where I get a little like standoffish, whether it was aliens, whether it was nothing, my imagination, skinwalker, is because what starts to happen a little bit farther back out of in the tree line, right before you could get like right just out of where my headlights would shine. Higher up in the trees is these two like glowing red eyes. And I've heard that's something that skinwalkers could do too.
Yeah.
Or have these red eyes. And so when we see the red eyes, I'm finally like, "Okay, I'm satisfied. I saw something."
Yeah.
Or I didn't see something.
Well,
I
red
don't know.
eyes are predatory.
Oh, they
the
could be like
green-
animals too.
Well, yeah, but that's what, like a predator animal will have red eyes at night.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, but like a deer has like yellow eyes.
Oh,
Interesting.
okay.
Yeah,
That's
because it's
interesting.
they can see, like predators can see better at night. Something to do with that.
Yeah.
like, capability is what makes their eyes red at night.
So maybe it was just like a regular animal predator that was just chasing us down.
Well,
other
or a
thing-
skinwalker. I mean, skinwalkers also like in the lore, like they have red eyes too.
That's
Oh,
what I was
yeah.
going to say.
Yeah.
So, because I do remember reading that skinwalkers, like whether they're in their like form or
Yeah.
just like regular, they always have constantly red eyes.
Yeah.
And then I also read this just kind of popped up into my head. and I want to check if it's like legit or if you guys have heard this too, but apparently like if you can figure out who, it's almost like the werewolf, right? If
Yeah.
you can figure out who the skinwalker is, then as like a regular person,
Yeah, then they want to kill you.
right? They use pretty much just die.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's terrifying. Also, if it was November, would you think maybe the cold just killed your phone battery?
I mean,
Or not
go
having
from
service.
98 to like
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, maybe. But like it was when, because we turned our flashlights on at
Mhm.
first when we were trying to look at like the lights to see what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because, oh yeah, let's put a big like arrow on top of us to show people
Yeah.
where we are.
Hey,
Um,
here. Yeah.
Because-
kill me.
No joke at first, because this was during COVID. This thing was shut down.
Yeah.
Like you weren't supposed to go there. At first, I thought it was like forest provoke. I thought it was like Forest Service, and I was like, "Fuck, we're gonna get arrested."
Yeah, Brandon's just drunk as shit. He's like, "Oh shit, I'm getting
But-
arrested."
Oh my gosh.
Good luck dragging my drunk ass down this hill.
You'll never get me.
But you know, that's not even the end of the story. So like I finally end up leaving in my car out of the parking lot. And if you know this road, it's just like straight out basically
Yeah.
from the parking lot. Like you get out the parking lot and you turn, and I look in the rear view mirror in my car, and I swear I see those same red eyes. And you know, my overactive imagination could have sworn it was like this lanky humanoid like figure that was there, just kind of like black, illuminated vaguely by my taillights.
Right.
And it just kind of stood there kind of like menacingly, red eyes, like, but the eyes weren't just like reflective, you know what I mean? They were like glowing, you know?
Oh, so it was like more than just reflection.
Yeah. But we ended up getting right out of there. We were dead silent until we got out of Spanish Fort Canyon and Diamond Fort Canyon.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And the only reason why I'm like thinking it possibly could have been a skinwalker is because I was looking online, because I was kind of spooked about it, and I was looking online everything about Diamond Fork.
Yeah.
And there was one other story of somebody saying there was a skinwalker up there.
Interesting.
And so that's kind of where I got that from. But yeah, outside of that, I can't say one way or the other. And you know, it's very possible that being young, dumb, and full of cum, that I just didn't know
Damn.
what was up there.
Damn.
That there was just nothing, and I just spooked myself, and it really was the Forest Service, and I just avoided a big fine.
Just cock blocked yourself.
Basically, we were gonna go skinny dipping. It would have been so much fun.
No, it wasn't there. It was somewhere else in Vegas where they had like natural hot pots, and we went, and there is like a whole nudist colony up there.
Ballers. That's so
Yeah.
sick. Yeah, I mean, I think just to hit on what you were saying earlier about your just being young, because it's hard, man. Like we talked about it in our very first episode we all did together, but when you're young like that, you tend to like, especially thinking about it after. I don't want to downplay what happened to you
No.
by any means.
Go ahead,
Um,
downplay it.
No, but I don't want to, because I want to believe it as well.
Yeah,
You know, like, but it's just hard because your mind wants to like make up something to explain what happened, you know?
Yeah.
Because even if it was nothing, maybe maybe you just saw a forest ranger or something.
Yeah.
You know, you want to explain something because your mind wants to believe it. And it's almost like, have you guys heard that when you're like, sometimes people see things on the corner of their eyes or something, or
Yeah.
on the side of their eye, but it's because your peripheral vision, like your brain automatically fills in that space because that's
Oh,
what it
really?
thinks what's there. Yeah.
yeah,
And so,
Also, it's probably like comes from like as we've adapted, like our peripheral vision's probably always looking for danger more than
Right.
like
Yeah. I
could
your
see that.
front vision.
uh-huh.
So I could see if like whatever you're seeing in your peripheral vision is actually like automatically viewed as dangerous
Uh-huh.
because your brain is like always looking for any sign of danger just from like
Right.
us evolving over time.
Mm-hmm.
So
But,
that could
but
be a lot of it.
yeah, I mean, that's still freaky, you know, especially if you, like, if it chased you all the way down.
yeah,
That's pretty crazy, dude. Like, that's a whole freaking mile and a half or mile that you ran down for it to just like calmly be watching you as you drive away.
yeah,
You know, you
That's
would
the
think if
eeriest part.
it's freaky, dude.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, like, and it actually was a forest ranger, why wouldn't he have pulled up a flashlight and be like, "Hey, yo, you guys get the hell over here, like,
Right.
you know, or something, or why would he chase you down?
Also, how was a normal forest ranger in the dark, like catching up with you guys at a dramatic pace? Because, like, I imagine by the time you started running, it probably wasn't right next to you, or else you would have seen it better. So for it to be able to like catch up with you
Yeah.
that much over a mile and a half, I mean, that's like the way I imagine it. Of course, I wasn't there, but like that's
Right.
quite a distance to
Well,
gain on someone who's running for their life.
there was quite a distance too, like between us. Like, I wish I could show you because the image in my mind is like there. I wish I could just like pull it out, or if like I was a good artist, like I could draw. I'm not.
Fax it to me.
I would
Fax it to
totally
me.
like show you kind of how it was, like the distance and stuff. Like, it wasn't close to us at all. It was kind of like the best way I could imagine it, because you guys know there's all these bends and stuff.
Right. Like
So-
through the like the hike and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
And
some really
so
narrow parts.
We were
too.
at some, yeah.
Sorry,
definitely.
I guess that's might not be relevant, but there are.
No, there
Are
really
there
are.
narrow parts still? 'Cause
Oh yeah.
I remember hiking that, and it was like, I feel like the trail was like 6 or 7 feet.
There's
It's
always
pretty narrow now.
there is one part where if I remember correctly, where it like kind of you have to kind of go on the side of the hill, and it's kind of like sloughed away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
Because yeah, that's what I remember thinking. This would be fun to ride my bike on, and then
Yeah.
then you get to that part, and you're like, I don't know how I could get a bike across that.
For
That's
sure.
the only reason I remember.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. But to kind of like paint the image, so throughout the trail, there's kind of like some ups and downs. And so, but then you also have that bend and it goes up. So what happened was we were on an up right here. And then it kind of went down and there was like a curve, like way far down. So it was like doom and then the curve. And then you have way up going straight up on the hill. I know I'm like showing you guys this and the listeners can't hear.
Yeah.
Or
can't
see. It was like over here on the top of the hill where you could see the lights, and we were down here. And so we were able to start running, and they would have to cover the distance by coming down the hill, then going around the bend just to come up and like get us. Like there was a lot of distance, like you guys were saying.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah. See, in like an average person running
Yeah.
that fast too. That's I don't know. I don't know if I could see that actually being like a forest ranger, because they're also wearing gear too.
that's
You know,
true.
like there's no way you wouldn't have heard it. Like you heard a forest ranger like just like jingling as he's running down. You know.
Yeah.
Or he probably would have at least said, "Hey, stop."
Yeah.
That's true.
Hey yo, please stop. Hey, you can't
Please
be
stop.
here.
But-
Please stop.
It was interesting because there was no other cars at the base too. And I was half stressed. I was like, fuck, it's the Forest Service. They're going to get me. They probably already impounded my car.
Damn,
It's
can you
like on
imagine
a
you
crane
get down
truck
there?
when you get
Oh,
there.
that would suck so bad.
I was like so nervous about that. But no, at the end, like I can't tell you like what it was, if it was anything at
Yeah.
all. I'd like to believe, but again, like I just don't have that proof. But you know, I can honestly tell you I was scared. Like the hairs on the back of my neck were standing up, and I was scared, whether it was just afraid of getting in trouble by the Forest Service or whatever it was. Like that's a story. If this girl wasn't married and like we were not on as bad of terms, I would definitely like invite her and be like, yeah, tell the story. Like, what did you experience? Like, what do you remember of this? Because that's like what I remember. And now every time I go up there, I'm always packing my gun.
Dude, but that's like back to what you were saying about like you were scared. Like I don't think, I mean, there was a time when we ran from the cops.
Yeah.
You know? That was a really dumb time, but we ran from the cops once, and it was stupid, but I didn't feel the like hair on the back of my neck stand up. You know,
Yeah.
that's a different type of scared.
I feel like you just like have a high heart rate. You're just
Right.
like,
It's more like
urgent.
Yeah.
anxious. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, but that's like fear.
I mean, even
Years,
when
like-
I had my ticket, like I wasn't as afraid as I was then, I guess I'd say. It was a different type of fear for sure.
You know, because and the thing is, like, I think us as humans, to a degree, also have an ability to tell. Like, you know, we're not. I mean, we're considered to be the apex predator for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And so, we can also kind of like get those weird feelings of like I feel a sense of like unsettling like sense or something like that,
Yeah.
where something's up but you can't quite put your finger on it.
I hate that.
That's
I
what
hate it
bothers
too.
me too,
Yeah.
because I wish I could tell you like, no, I saw a forest ranger and I outran the guy, or like I
Right.
saw an alien, or I saw a skinwalker. Like I wish I could tell you. Like
Mhm.
I almost hit myself in the head. I'm almost like, what if we just stayed a little bit longer?
Yeah.
What if we just waited for it to decide to come out of the light, But like at
What
the
if we
same
just
time, what would have
died?
happened?
Yeah.
Like what if I
Because
did
what
die?
if you did wait? We wouldn't be recording any of this
Right.
now,
Shadow Valley wouldn't exist.
But yeah, no, I think that's totally what you saw and what you felt. I think is definitely very real. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like again, I didn't want to downplay anything that happened to you, because like the more you hear about it, and the more you kind of like understand, because that fear again, I'll sound like a broken record just because I'm repeating what we just said, but
Yeah.
it's just a different type of feeling, and when you're scared. When you're a child, you don't want to go into a dark place, it kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
But when you're an adult, you kind of start to understand like, well, it's just the dark, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But there's those times when you just feel something. You're like, dude, something's not right, man. Like that story that you were talking about in our first episode, when you said you were out hunting and you and your buddy were both like, dude, something feels off. We need to get out of here.
Yeah.
It's times like that just kind of like, it's just freaky, you don't want to deal, and you don't want to like let those thoughts get in there, because then you almost make it real, right?
Right.
You give it a reason to freak you out,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. If you guys can catch what I'm saying.
Well,
Yeah. I
it's,
pick up what you're saying.
it's interesting because like part of what makes us the apex predator is our ability to reason or
Mhm.
to, use our brain in a different way that other
Right.
animals don't.
Yeah.
Well, that also is a disadvantage where sometimes we need to rely on our instincts, but instead we're like reasoning our way out of it. Like, oh, I'm just being silly in my head.
Yeah.
Or the other way around, where you're being silly in your head and you think it's your instincts and you're just being paranoid and there's
Right.
nothing to be scared of. And like, I hate when I'm like sometimes I'll just be like in any like some place where I don't feel extremely comfortable. So like say I'm not at my house and I don't even know, like I can't think of, well, so right now I'm staying at my wife's grandma's house because of the moving situation. But she's not even home. So it's weird because I'm staying at someone's house and they're not there.
Yeah.
And
Right.
also it's not my house, but I'm
Right.
there alone, treating
Mhm.
it like my house. So it's a little bit eerie, but it's like if you're just sitting there and then all of a sudden you just felt like something was going on, it'd be like super uncomfortable, know,
Right.
and you're just like, there's no explanation. It's just like, I just don't feel comfortable right now. I feel like something's wrong. And,
Right.
and you don't know whether that's your head or
Yeah.
whether it's like an actual sixth sense of some sort, which is
Mhm.
wild that like we shoot ourselves in the foot that way as a reasoning species.
Right. And the worst part about it is I feel like, for me at least, when I feel those like weird feelings or those kind of freaky times,
Yeah.
my mind almost like plays into that, It almost like makes me more scared. And it's like I guess maybe it's like the fight or flight response, instead of like I feel like, or maybe it's flight, or I don't know, but I'd imagine my brain goes into like fight mode and says something's there. You need to prepare yourself,
Yeah.
And so it freaks me out even more because I'm not like, oh, dude, I'm just going to ignore that. But again, and I think I mentioned this last or 2 episodes ago, but I'm like a very superstitious person.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
I'm not
But
superstitious. I'm just a little stitious.
Oh my
get out of here.
After you say what you're gonna say, I just got to tell you how stupid I am relating to this.
Okay. But yeah, anytime something like that comes up, I think of the worst, and then I want to like make sure that I prepare myself because,
Yeah.
I don't know. You never know what's going to happen if anything like that actually comes to fruition. I want to be ready to go, even though I probably wouldn't even be able to protect myself at all.
Right.
If anything, if it was against a creature like that,
Oh yeah. I get that 100%.
Yeah.
And this actually kind of came out in the story like I just told.
Mhm.
But sometimes when I feel eerie things, like if I'm sitting in the dark at home and then something like comes up, my brain will be like, okay, we need to go, like blah blah blah, like that fight or flight thing. And I'll sit there and like internally I'll be stubborn and I'll be like, no, there's nothing to be afraid of. We're gonna sit here now until
Just like telling yourself off.
literally I'll tell myself off. I'll be like, we're gonna sit here now just to prove that there's nothing.
No,
And that you're just overreaction.
No, you're stupid.
Like, no joke, like that is pretty fucking stupid. Like your body's built to like know these things.
Yeah.
But like just to spite myself, I'm like, no, we're not moving. We're not. There's nothing here. We're gonna sit at least for another like 10 minutes.
Dude, you're crazy, bro. I don't know how you can do that. Like, seriously.
And that's why I didn't leave right away, like with the whole like trail thing. I flipped around my car and I sat there trying to wait for something.
Yeah, you're crazy, dude. That's it. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think it's just different for every person, but my mind plays into it, you know.
Yeah.
It wants to, like, convinces me of the worst, which sucks because I would have immediately just dipped out of that place.
Yeah. My mind, like, it'll go through all of the scary things that it could be. But then, like, at the same time, I'm trying to logic myself out of it. And that's
Yeah.
where I'm like, no, we're going to stay.
Right.
We're staying, Brennan. Don't you move a goddamn muscle.
Well, that's interesting, man. I luckily I haven't had any run-ins like that, at least that I've noticed. But that's a really interesting story. I wonder what would have happened if you did stay.
Probably should have.
No, you probably shouldn't have.
I hit myself in the head about it, too. I'm just like, I should have just waited. Just waited a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. I know, but like famous last words there too. Like, oh, I just stayed a little bit too long.
Yeah, and then you can never mind.
But
Then you have a kid.
oh shit, you're not wrong. But
Just stayed a little too long.
I don't know. It kills me. I want the truth. That's what really itches me, and I think we've all kind of like reiterated it. We want the facts. We want to know what it is definitively, but like with all of these different encounters and these stories that people tell, like we just can't get that.
Right.
Like even with the Becks, like we were talking about it, like you just don't know where they came from.
Yeah, I hate the Becks.
Yeah.
I hate them.
I was gonna say if you guys have
Schools.
any Beck encounters tonight, you got to tell me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably just like start crying. Forget it all.
Oh my gosh! Just
done.
don't open the door.
No, I never open the door.
Cool.
I just check my doorbell camera. That's the cool thing about modern technology.
it. It's a box.
Nobody's home right now.
Come back later, Mr. Bex. UPS guy.
Oh, I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
nobody's home. Never mind.
No habla inglés, señor.
Oh my gosh! Could you just imagine the Becks like responding in Spanish?
¿Qué pasa, güey?
Oh, tengo un burrito para ti.
¿Qué te pasó, nena?
¿Quieres morir o qué?
Oh my gosh! But
But yeah, thanks for sharing that story. That was very interesting.
no worries at all. It was just I don't know. It was an experience I have. I don't have a lot of those type of experiences, but that was one. And I think I briefly kind of mentioned as like, oh yeah, like in one of our previous episodes, like I have a maybe Skinwalker story, maybe something I can share. But yeah, that was it. Out of that, like I don't have any other stories, guys. I got to go make some. I got to go out and go like get some more.
No, you should not go make some. You should
But-
just stay safe.
You should go hike.
Stay
that
safe,
tonight.
stay sober.
You know, just KMS, keep myself safe.
Yeah.
Wow,
Keep
that
yourself
was a
safe.
good poll. That was quick.
I think it's too cold to do that right now. It's probably like 40 degrees outside. Maybe less.
To go hiking?
Especially up
54.
there. I bet it's probably 30.
Yeah.
I just got to find that girl again. She'll go hiking with me.
Yeah, now
she's
she's
married?
married.
Oh yeah, good point. She liked me more anyway.
I'm sure that's why she's married to someone
Well,
else.
no, it's because I curved her, bro.
Hmm.
I straight up
curb stomped
curved her.
her?
Something like that. No, but I straight up curved her too because she was like, she was really into me. She's actually my sister's best friend.
That's a problem.
But like, I know anyone who likes my sister. But she she's my sister's best friend. She had a crush on me. I kissed her like once or twice, and then I just wasn't like feeling it. I was like, yeah, you're just not kind of like for me. But she was super into me. She actually dogged my sister a few times for me, which, you know, good on her. She knew it was better.
Wow.
But, yeah,
Well, it's only because your sister wouldn't share her candy bars with her.
late night snacks with. Oh my God. My mom, like, when she saw that TikTok from my sister, she, like, was gagging because she was like, that's so gross. And I was like, well, it's just a chocolate monster. Fucking Oompa Loompa.
Well, anything else you guys would like to add on to Skinwalkers?
I think I've pretty much said what I think I've got. Yeah.
Summed it up a little bit. Again, I think it's hard to find much information on this because it is pretty locked down.
Yeah.
And I hope we didn't. I mean, we're trying to be as cordial as possible with this because it is a sensitive topic for some people.
Yeah.
So we apologize if we got any details wrong or said anything to sway people the wrong way.
Yeah.
But again, this is a podcast on our opinions and what we can find on research. So don't drag us
Exactly.
through the coals too hard.
Again, like, if you guys have any issues with anything or you just want to reach out, talk to us, connect with us, shoot us an email at shadow.valleypod@thedogenetwork.com.
If you message us on Instagram, I will personally give you Parker's phone number.
Nice.
That's fine with me. Yeah.
No,
No,
I'm just playing.
I'd be pretty stoked to like someone's like, hey, even if they call to say that I'm like an idiot, I'd be like, I welcome
shit.
this because I'd just be like, at least we have people to hate us.
Exactly. That's how you know you've made it when you got haters.
I can't wait to have our own subreddit where everyone just bashes us.
That'd be sick. No, I don't.
That's
want
when
that,
you know
actually.
you've made it.
No, I was just playing. I wouldn't give you Parker's phone number, but I'll give you. I don't know.
A Twinkie.
No, that's too much money. I'll just message you.
He'll
back.
answer
Yeah.
you. How
Yeah,
about
we'll
that?
answer
Yeah, how
he
about
will
that?
give you an
Yeah.
answer from the bottom of his heart.
I'll give you any therapy you need. I am not licensed at all in the slightest.
Oh my gosh.
And it
you've
won't
heard
be
me speak-
extremely urgent to him, so
Yeah.
don't come to him with urgent matters.
You've
my
heard me
gosh.
speak for the last 19 episodes. Actually, 18 episodes. You've heard me speak for 18 episodes, so you know I'm kind of a fool. But I will give you advice. I don't care.
Yeah.
Message us. Instagram, freaking
Lat.
lat.
Latam.
At Shadow Valley.
Shadow Valley Pod on Instagram. We're posting after every episode upload. So
Exactly.
yes, please give us a follow. DM us. We'll talk to you. But yeah, I think that's it. Unfortunately, again, I think I said this in the beginning of the episode, but I didn't have too much time to do any research. I briefly did some before the episode, but I'm glad Brennan and Parker are like experts on this subject, which is really nice.
Why, thank you.
Push up my glasses a little bit.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that about does it for us, guys. Again, my name's Brennan,
You've got Gabe.
And Parker.
and you guys have a great rest of your day.